Hello and welcome to the Moiscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell, here to boast about our winnings on Tuesday. And I guess we'll talk about Thursday as well. Let's get into it.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
DJ, it is Wednesday the 18th. I think people know how our Tuesdays were, but how was your Tuesday and how is your Wednesday going?
Yep, Tuesday was very, very, very good. All the bets decided they were going to hit. It's always enjoyable to watch. DFS, I was like I fell out from first to third and 121 and some shit like that. But it's just gravy at that point. I didn't expect to win, and Nikita Kucherov certainly had other ideas in mind, like let you win all the money and put me in my rightful place, and as a bronze medalist on most of the bigger contests. So yeah, very, very happy, very, very rich, but not moods rich. So let's hear about your Tuesday shenanigans.
Yeah, I played Nikita Kucherov with his line mates, and turns out that was very, very good, and literally was all I needed to win. There were 4 people in the 333 that had that 3-man stack. That's it. 2 of them played Vegas 2 with it. They got shut out by the Buffalo Sabres, so that right there is pretty good. And the third one played the McLeod line for the Sabres with it. So that game finishing 2-0. All I had to do was put in a functional stack, and I win all the money. I played the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything, but it doesn't matter because I had Ryan Hartman as a one-off, and I nailed the goalie in UC Saros. And it was just one of those slates where Kucherov scored so many points, Hagel-Strelly scored so many points that nobody else could even come close to matching my score. So yeah, it was a crazy night. I played terribly. I wrote about it in the Discord. The reason I got to that lineup because I was flat wrong. I played Toronto. I don't feel good about it, but sometimes you don't hit the ball off the center of the face and it still goes on the green, and that's kind of not been happening for me over the past year.
Right.
So
your lineup at 7 was not the lineup you finished with, right?
Correct. Yeah. I started with Toronto, Minnesota, because I thought Minnesota was going to go Hartman, Kaprizov, Zuccarello. And I'm like, oh, these donkeys are stacking, the wrong lines. We don't know for sure. Wound up, the guy's guess was right. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to pivot to that because I thought they would be chalk. I thought they'd be 15, 20% owned. No, they were 8%. I was just wrong. I was just flat wrong. And got bailed out because I didn't want to play McDavid because turns out not having Draisaitl, I think, limits his ceiling. He's still a great play, but 40% versus Kucherov, 4%. Yeah. I certainly feel good about that. And had an inkling that's sort of where we were heading. I'll take it. Crazy night.
Our lineups were somewhat similar, only I stuck to the Minnesota 1 situation and said, I don't believe Yurov's going to stick as their line 1 guy. The first goal, it's Hartman from Kaprizov. I'm sitting here yep, time to collect all my ducats. Everything's going to go my way. And Hartman getting 4 shots, Kaprizov having 6, the points were there. It was fine, but Vancouver too is really what got me up into the real money and had a chance. So I think we were pretty directionally accurate with our show. And of course, I think it just goes to show you just because the cards turn over at 7 doesn't mean all the cards are turned over. There is a late swap for a reason. And if news comes out that changes your mind, I think don't default to the chalk. Don't default to McDavid because, there was another direction there that I feel like nobody went to other than you. And it just absolutely smashed. So even though you're kind of diminishing what you did, it was a really, really good lineup that still utilized a lot of the news and ended up being a very, very different way of building a lineup that was, it fucking won. So there you go.
Sometimes Kucherov's just going to do that, and getting that at 4% is ridiculous. And, some of the people who played Kucherov, I don't think they made a mistake playing him with, Gensel and Radish or whatever, but it was just one of those nights where Kucherov was just a magician. And so we did it with his line mates, and they were like, yep, that line's going. We're going to keep him with those guys all night. And it's okay.
Yeah. He's going to finish 4th in the MVP voting.
Oh my god, dude! Did you see
Wait.
the what was it? Let me just pull it up. I posted it in the Discord. Since January 1st, NHL scoring leaders, Nikita Kucherov has 60 points. Next is
Yeah.
McDavid 45, Bouchard 41, Draisaitl 40, McKinnon 40, Scheifele 38. Like he is leveling up somehow. I mean, just ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's 111 points in 62 games. And unfortunately for him, he has a really tough Thursday night matchup that we're going to get to. But let's pull up the sheet and maybe get into it. Other notes you want to get to on the Tuesday slate. But like I'm saying, I think that it was a really good lineup that just was weird because you kept working at it though. Like, and it just kind of became a different build. Toronto, I'll never understand, but you know what?
I don't either. I could have. I just wanted to play Matthias Michelli. That was it. I'm like, oh, he's so cheap. It gives me what I want to do. And then I'm like, well, it fits with Nylander and Riley. It's like, what am I doing? Why not?
Like you were the Vancouver 2 guy. Like I mean, again, like you just would have won a couple more dollars. I'm guessing. Like it's not like it was, but like I just don't. I will never understand why you didn't go that route.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it might have been enough because I mean Jake from Stochastic, he won the 20 by like 40 points, but I was in 4th, so like it was one of those things where like I was close to the top, but not really. And I think if had I done with the salary there, like Rossi Besser over Michelli Nylander, well, did I need I don't remember if I needed the position or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, Vancouver was awesome. I played them on the late slate too. I was like, oh, I don't have a sweat. Toronto sucked. Like I'm playing the late slate, and turns out that's all I needed there too. So good stuff all around, but certainly not like I felt better about mini slates than that one, about my play. So showing the Thursday slate, there are 11 games, so let's hop into things. I mean, I guess you can read through them if you wish.
Yeah. I mean, I will just say that there are 0 birthdays per Hockey Reference for anybody that played an NHL game this season. Most recent players are Jack Thompson and Callahan Burke. Before them was Tyler Bozak. Not a single player that had over 500 career points. Tyler Bozak is the most points of any player on this birthday. The only name I recognize sort of in this mix was Louis DeBrusk. That's Jake DeBrusk's dad, I believe. But maybe there's a goalie in here, actually. I guess I never look at goalies. Anders Nielsen was the last goalie that had this birthday that played in the NHL. So there you go for the birthday, folks.
He spent a year with Buffalo, right?
Yeah, he did. He was a part of the tank era, but he had I think he was one of the goalies that like actually wasn't horrific that they had. They're like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's winning games. So yeah, 11 games. I'm not going to read through them all, to be honest. We're going to get through all of them. I think that the standout couple, as far as the sheet is concerned, from a shot perspective, the Islanders seem to show up on this every single time. They play Ottawa in a back-to-back, so that's a little bit tenuous, I guess, but that game shows up as a good goals game and whatnot. Detroit, Montreal, I think that could be a pretty popular spot. We'll get to it. Montreal, of course, like was a good play on Tuesday. It didn't get all the way there, but it was fine. So maybe people will go back to the well. And then, of course, I think the game that will probably garner a good bit of ownership and will, obviously the Sabres and San Jose. San Jose, every time they're on a slate, Macklin Celebrini plus the other side is always going to look pretty good. And there's a lot of other spots scattered around, some back-to-backs, some teams that are getting desperate, some teams that are, rolling as of recording, and some teams that are really falling off. So I think we start with the first game on the slate, if you're ready, unless there's any other notes before we dive into Winnipeg, Boston.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a line for Philly, LA, but Kempe is like a true game time decision. 10:30 start there, so hopefully we get morning skate stuff. But he's like the biggest name that is kind of a question mark here. Everything else I felt pretty good about, but yeah, we'll touch on things as we go. Starting things off,
I gotta double check the lines.
Yeah, we are. My stuff is. I just checked my stuff. It doesn't look like anything crazy occurred.
Yeah.
Cooley versus Hofer in that. I don't know.
I played Ottinger.
Cool. Then you're good.
Yep.
Winnipeg against Boston. Winnipeg last game, they did lose in overtime. In the third period, they went to Velarde, Connor Scheifele. Just hard to know for sure what they're going to do on a given day. They didn't practice today, so the only change we would possibly see, I think, is Velarde for Iafallo, and that's about it. But heading into Boston, any interest here in Winnipeg?
Not really. I mean, there's really only a couple guys to consider. There's the one added benefit to playing Winnipeg is that the top guys see so many fucking minutes. I mean, it's reaching bonkers levels. Like Kyle Connor and Scheifele are seeing 25 minutes a night. They're basically not playing a fourth line. They're barely playing a third line when all things considered. One power play is getting the lion's share of the minutes. You know, Josh Morrissey's, like I said, once he's fully healthy again, which seems like we're there, he's going to see almost 30 minutes. He saw 29. You know, anybody can do damage in that, but he had an 18.4 with a goal and 3 blocks and 2 shots. Like, there's going to be an uptick, I think in his game, and I don't mind him at 5,600 if you're playing Winnipeg, but I'm probably not going here. I just think Boston is A, respectable, and B, like, there's only one line really to worry about. The second line does have 2 top power play guys in Velarde and Perfetti, and those top power play guys also are seeing 20 plus minutes. So there's a cheaper option, but it's really not that cheap. So you're still paying $6K for Gabriel Velarde, and he just doesn't feel to warrant that price tag. I know he has 6 shots on goal against Nashville, and you know, almost, you know, he put up more than Seth Jarvis has all season, but that is certainly his ceiling right there.
I wonder if
Anyways,
that's actually
any thought-
true. DK no longer shows the full season game log, so it's tough to verify that. But yeah, 27
I'll try to look
is
if
officially
yeah,
above that mark.
Yes,
I feel like
Any
Jarvis had a
thoughts?
hat trick in the first month of the season.
I know that's kind of. I'm gonna scroll through his early season game logs and see if there's
Yeah.
anything that stands out. But
Anyway, the main thesis is this game is generally not anywhere close to my top level of interest. I think if you need a total punt forward, you could look at this Taze Roseanne situation. Like, Taze still is the 6th guy when they pull the goalie. He's the dead minimum, 2,500 scored last game. So if they do try to change up the power play or something and ditch Cole Perfetti, I don't think they'll do that, but they could. Taze is the dead minimum. That's the only way I would even try to take advantage of anything here. It's just like, hey, I need a dead minimum player to make a lineup I really like work, because this is not the game environment for me. That'll lead me into the Boston conversation, where in spite of having Fraser Minson available to us, which of course we like, I'm just not sure that this game really does it for me. Something I am keeping an eye on, they lost in overtime as well as Winnipeg last game, I guess. So they called up Lucas Reichel, and they used an emergency thing on him, which I think I'm not exactly sure how cap gymnastics work now, but I'm pretty sure the idea is that means someone has to be unavailable. I don't know who that would be, but they have Alex Steves and Mikey Isemont on the roster already. So I think if he plays, it goes in that slot, which would be alongside Geeky and Lindholm. He's done nothing in the NHL, but Lucas Reichel's an interesting player nonetheless. So he's kind of like a Moods dude. So just got to mention that. But I don't know. Keep an eye on his goal odds. If he's 11-1 to score a goal or something like a 4th liner, maybe you do that, because I don't think he'll play on the 4th line. He'll play with someone with at least some juice.
yeah, I mean, David Pastrnak last game played 25 minutes. He never came off for the power play at all. You can certainly play him and Minton together. I'm just a never Kuzanadinov guy. I know he's been quote unquote fined, but I'm not interested in playing a guy that is, I think, just as likely to have 0 as he is to have 1.3 as he is to have 10. So that's a no from me. I think it's just Minton, Pasta, or nothing in this game, but I think at the end of the day, the Cards are going to turn over and I'm going to have nothing. That probably can't be said about the next game. I think the next game is much more interesting. It's less so on the back-to-back Rangers side and more so on the Columbus side, which won't come as a surprise. The game doesn't really show up as being crazy high event, but I feel like it's probably better than you would think. Like Columbus was out with Werenski for a little while in the last 10, and the Rangers just kind of suck. So I'm pretty interested, like I said, in the Columbus side of this game. They're clearly the better option. I think they could be somewhat chalky. They're not very expensive. We'll get to all the pricing. But the Rangers are not interesting to me at all. Like, I think Columbus is just a much better team. I have no faith in the Rangers anymore. They do dumb things on top of being bad. I don't even know how they're doing tonight. They're playing. Right, am I losing my mind? No,
they are losing 6-3.
Wow.
Yep. So
great with them. Hey, Brett scored. Goals parlay lives.
Well, yeah. So on the Rangers side, we're looking at Lafreniere's advantage at Perot. They were the Rangers' only source of offense in this one. I think, yeah, Lafreniere hit the shot bonus, so decent night. Spanish scored. Perot had an assist. I stacked them, so I like that. That's fine. I'm not upset about that. They could have played better, of course, but it's not terrible. And over the last basically since Panarin's been traded, we've talked about this. Lafreniere's been on another level. He's been awesome. I just don't think the price reflects their current output. That line is priced at $15K. It sucks that Gabe Perreault gives up the power play one to JT Miller, who actively looks disinterested in the sport of professional ice hockey. But it is what it is. For $15K, you're getting a line with 2 power play one pieces and 33 expected DK points per game and 34 actual. Like, that's just really solid, sustainable production from a 15K line. I don't have any interest in the defenseman here. Gavrikov is on a bender if you like riding hot streaks. I think he has 5 goals in 10 games. And he's been okay from an underlying standpoint. The price doesn't really reflect it, but with 11 games, we have a lot of D options, including some cheaper ones that play meaningful power play one roles. So that's where I'm focused on. It's mainly the top line or nothing. Columbus.
I mean, yeah, it's nothing for me, but top line or nothing. Yep. Great. Columbus
moved around Marchment to the top line. Sillinger, Coyle, Olivier, Johnson, Monahan, Garland. Kind of noteworthy. I'm not sure why Connor Garland wasn't on the power play 2 last game. It was Cole Sillinger. I don't think you need to dumpster dive Cole Sillinger for any reason whatsoever, but if you're playing Coyle, maybe that's like a worthy look because that's just a different role. But I don't know if there's a reason for that. I didn't follow that game closely. So any thoughts on Columbus here?
I mean, they did win 5-1 against Carolina and were up pretty handily. So like the problem there is that they don't play more of the skilled guys as much. Like Kent Johnson and Garland and Monahan, that line was fine at 5-on-5. It just stopped seeing as much ice time because they're just throwing Jenner, Coyle, Olivier, Sillinger out there as much as possible. And that does hurt the upside here, but I still love this top line. I love the full power play correlation. And I mean, Zach Werenski's been a bit quiet, but I think that bubbling under the surface is still the second, I guess, highest ceiling defenseman in all of daily fantasy. So I could see myself going the 4-man stack here. I mean, this team, the Rangers, they're just totally dead. They're disinterested. They're not giving any fight. And Columbus is, in must-win mode. Every loss is an absolute dagger to their percentage of making the playoffs. And I think I'm just going to go to the Fantilli, Marchenko, Marchment, and Werenski well here. I think it will be somewhat popular, but there's a lot of good spots on this slate. So I don't know if it'll be super chalk. I do think it'll be, in the top 3 or 4 stacks of the night, though, in ownership.
Yeah, I think I agree. The pricing on Fantilli Marchenko is just so appealing. That line is $16K.
Yeah. And what was the Rangers one?
15.
The top Rangers line?
Yeah, 15K, yeah, 15.2.
Unfortunately, we're you're finding the money to get up to this line, in my opinion, and or else you're going elsewhere. I mean, there's
I will say
22 teams on the slate, and this is going to be one of the more popular plays.
Yeah, I will say if you're looking just simply at their production over the last stretch, the Rangers line is more productive. So it's not a predictive or anything, but if you're trying to think through like recent form or whatever, it's actually slightly better on the Rangers side. I think I'm just generally staying away from here, though. Lots of spots later in the night that get me going.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So
my
I think
last
you're
note,
right
my
on
last
the.
note. Yeah. Oh,
I
no,
think
go
you're right
ahead.
on the
You go.
Cylinder thing. By the way, I think that was just he's a defensive player, so let's just give them the minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, the last note I'll make here is I do think that people are going to look at this. It's really appealing. There's another stack they like, and they're just going to leave Werenski off. Like, I'm not playing it that way. I mean, you either play Zach Werenski on the top line or you don't play the top line. Like, don't think that Fantilli and Marchenko are going to go for 3 points apiece, and Werenski's not coming along for the ride and throwing a 30 bomb on the board. So,
yeah,
that's my buyer beware. But I do think people will leave him off because he just hasn't done it lately. But yeah,
you might
he is.
see Columbus being used with more expensive options like Kucherov, McDavid, and if you use Sorensky with
exactly.
it and go a cheaper stack, that might be a way to sort of play this line but do it intelligently.
Yep.
Moving on to Montreal at Detroit. Montreal takes the road. Same story as last slate for me, really, where it's like everything here is just showing that the top line is the only play for me. And yes, it is 20.5K. I just think this Detroit team's dog shit without Larkin and Kopp. Like they're just so weak down the middle. They beat Calgary last time, right? Yeah. I'm trying to remember the recent games, but like they were, very popular there. I doubt that's anywhere close to the case in this one. Like I think Montreal will not be overlooked, but I'm kind of going to the mat saying if the lineup looks like this for Detroit, like I'm looking long and hard at Montreal and hope that these higher prices keep people away.
Right. And I think last time we were kind of arguing, like, is Demidov the fourth guy in if you don't have the money to get Lane Hudson? Demidov was coming off of a game versus Anaheim where he saw over 20 minutes of ice time. We just had not seen that all year long. And then that 3-2 win against Boston, which went to overtime, he saw 12 minutes and 39 seconds. So I don't fucking know. I mean, the volume has been better from him. He seems to be more shooty. That line gave up a goal at some point, and they just didn't play as much. Like Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov were the fourth line as far as minutes were concerned. So that's just going to happen. St. Louis is not the most conventional coach in the world. I don't think he's as stupid as the dumb coaches, but he will do dumb things. They won the game, so what am I really going to say here? But he will do things like that and not play the second line as much because, Jake Evans is looking real good. So Evans, Bolduc, and Texas become the second line. So I just think you play the top line. I struggled to find the money for Lane Hudson, but I certainly get it. I mean, I made the case for playing Zach Werenski, and Lane Hudson is certainly just as involved, maybe not quite as involved with the scoring production, but like he's got over a point a game player. So yeah, definitely could do it. Just not as high of a ceiling, of course, but that's priced into his price, so not too crazy.
11.7 expected fantasy points. I'm just checking to see what the shot attempt numbers look like because that could just be
blocking a lot of pucks.
Okay.
He had 5 blocks against Anaheim. He had a 3 against Ottawa. Like he's just hitting blocks bonuses. Lane Hudson all of a sudden. I don't really know.
So last 10 games he has 46 shot attempts, which I think is an uptick for him. He has 6 primary assists, a goal, and 18 blocks. So yeah, like you're saying, almost 2 blocks per game is really strong stuff from Hudson, which does put him sort of on the fringes of consideration. Because he's not just a one category player, which, if all you're getting is assists, it's really hard to make 5.7K work because you need the 3-point bonus. And unless you're Erik Karlsson, apparently, you're not getting that every night. But if you're mixing in shots and blocks the way that Hudson has been lately, that's going to make you look much more appealing. So I think that that's a good call out and certainly would prefer him over Demidov versus what we saw and what this lineup looks like. On the Detroit side, we are expecting a fully correlated line one of Kane, Comfort, or Brinkett. Andrew Kopp did practice today, but he skated on the fourth line, like rotating with Sheldon Dries, and I'm guessing that's not where he would draw in. I suppose it's possible because coaches after a win love to just do stupid shit. Like, hey, let's not change anything, even though this lineup sucks. Which in that case, just you're never playing JT Compher at any price, even, like you shouldn't play JT Compher, but since people did it last time, they might do it anyway. with Cop on the fourth line, it's very clear that like one bad shift and that's just donezo. So be on the lookout for that. I don't think there'll be much attention paid here though. JVR Casper Appleton is super cheap. JVR in the power play 1 in practice today over Lucas Raymond, interestingly. And Casper has been, slightly better of late. So any thoughts on Detroit here?
I mean, yeah, I think it's to get cheaper options in the mix, like DeBrincat. I guess it's somewhat warranted this price tag, but it's really getting steep. Kane's going up in price. Even JT Compher, who's like, he's fine to get an assist in the mix, but he's not really a rate shooter. I think it's more to look at some of the cheaper options, like you're pointing out. And like Casper seems to be on a pitch count of 15 minutes of ice time, no matter what happens. But him and JVR, I've heard of stupider ideas as a bring back or as a cheap option. I'm not going to the second line. I just don't really believe in Finney as a DFS player, but he's been totally fine. It's just like, are you going to pay this price for Raymond when he doesn't really shoot and he's not the top power play? I mean, I know he's getting 20 minutes of ice time anyways, but it's a really tough click. So I think with all that being said, I'm out on Detroit, but I could at least circle the wagon. I will say that like if you are playing DeBrincat and you're playing Kane, you're playing Compher, again, I would just probably throw in Mo Sider. Like this guy is a walking triple bonus in the right vacuum. If the game is going to be a Detroit 1 win, he could certainly have 3 points like he did against Detroit. He get a shot bonus in that game. Why not throw in the box bonus? Like it can absolutely happen for him. So I'd throw him in if you're stacking Detroit.
Certainly. Can't argue that. Very different packages, but Mo Sider, 11.7 expected fantasy points per game last 10. Lane Hudson, 11.7 fantasy points per game last 10. Just the funds of sports.
I don't know when I lost you. Did any of my rant go through?
Yeah, I think so. It could be me that's
Okay.
laggy too. Doug mentioned to me the other day that I think on Monday night that I was lagging. So I don't know what the deal is there, but I gotta get Verizon out here, I guess, to fix my internet. So it could be me, could be you. I don't know. Let's keep it going though. To the Islanders at Ottawa. Islanders last game going Heineman, Horvat, Barzal, Duclair, Shen, Holmstrom, Lee, Pajot, Ritchie. Power play 1 remained Cal Ritchie, and he was critical to its success. 2 really nice plays to set up goals. 3,100 there going against a back-to-back Ottawa Senators team. I think you could power play stack the Islanders, leaving off Heineman, going Ritchie. But also we've talked many times about Heineman being a good player and probably doesn't get played, even if people do go to Horvat, Barzal, Schaefer. So either approach is fine. The game looks pretty solid. It's not just the Islanders that are fun lately. Ottawa's generating, and the pace is there actually on the slate in terms of just raw shot attempts. Corsi pace at 5-on-5. This game is clearly the best one. 10% better than the next closest game, which is Montreal, Detroit, kind of tied with Buffalo, San Jose. So there should be flow in this one, which we like for fantasy purposes. I don't think many people are playing this game though, so I need to think about it some more. But right away, I'm sort of a little bit like, what can I pull away from this one for my lineups on Thursday? Any thoughts here?
I mean, I don't want to ever play a game with Ottawa on a back-to-back, let alone a game that Ottawa's in. I mean, the Islanders are a team that seems to be able to push the tempo no matter who they're playing as of late, and the games always look appealing, but I'm probably sitting this one out. It's going to have one of the lower totals of the night. I think the only way that I'm possibly playing it is through the Islanders. It's just really expensive to do so. I like a lot of stacks a lot more than this, and I don't think you'll see a lot of ownership, but I do think people will see just how much usage and correlation you're getting between Horvat, Barzal, and Matthew Schaefer, and maybe go to it. Like Matthew Schaefer has been, as far as an expected fantasy point play, like maybe the best defenseman in the last 10 games.
Mhm.
You know, it's an option here for sure, and I do think people will look to it, but I'm just gonna sit this one out and hope that their top power play doesn't continue to click. And like you
Yeah.
said, like there's a couple guys that are pushing that, and one of them is on the third line.
Yeah, both of these teams are incredibly desperate. I mean, especially Ottawa. They're losing to Washington. It looks really bleak for them, but they're still pushing to make the playoffs. The Islanders are not safe whatsoever. Yes, they're like second, or I think they're third now because Pittsburgh just got a point. But like they are right on the bubble because Columbus could take their spot as well as taking a wild card spot. So they are like right in the thick of it. And we have seen Matthew Schaefer leading the league as far as like time on ice per game. So there's really no reason, like statistically, rates wise, he's there, minutes wise, he's there. I think this game, I think every Islanders game forever has been just undercredited by the books as far as, their totals and whatnot. And yeah, Sorokin helps, having a great goalie to cover up mistakes makes the total lower, but I don't think that's a huge deal for fantasy. Like, because we're looking for those upside cases where, 20% of the time this game goes crazy. That's sort of the outcome range that I am thinking about. So I think in this one, it's Horvat, Barzell, Schaefer, Richie for me. I like the Lee Pajot Richie line. So getting a little piece of that over Heineman and the power play is where I would lean. But certainly higher in this game than the field. Interested to see what comes from the other side, because Ottawa here probably shifts up their lines if they get shut out. There's 8 minutes to go as we talk about this, so something we got to just check in on tomorrow. But we could see something like Stützle, Kachuk. We have Thomas Chabot still monopolizing the blue line here, where he could play, Schaefer-like minutes. Like, it's not, I mean, we've seen in the past Chabot play 30 minutes. Like, I don't think this year we've seen it much, but like in past years, we literally have seen 30 minutes from Chabot. So like, I think everything's on the table here for both of these teams. I think the minutes are as concentrated as it's going to get. Like, hell, I could see a 6-man game stack here. Like, no problem. Like, I get it. It's a 5.5 total, but I really don't care at this point because I just don't think that's how the game is won, on the medians. Like, I don't really care about that. So any specific players on Ottawa for you?
I mean, the answer is I'm probably not playing it. I just feel like it's gotten really expensive on top of, like, I mean, again, like Chabot's no longer a value. Brady is over 8K. Stützle doesn't shoot enough for me to feel great about playing him at 7,400. And it's like even Batherson, we were like, oh, 4,800 Batherson, what a steal. Well, long ago, because he's 6,800 now. I mean, Batherson, I mean, you might be thinking, like, I must have been a while ago. Batherson was 4,800 2 weeks ago. 13 days. In 13 days, he's gone up 2K. Like, you're buying the absolute peak in a back-to-back game against the Islanders team that I just think is frankly better at this point. So it's going to be a no for me. That's kind of why neither side, but I will give the shout out to my boy, and I know not yours, Shane Pinto, who just has been smashing. The expected fantasy there, the volumes there, the minutes are there. He just doesn't get the top power play. And without that at 5K, I mean, I'm out, but guy's been playing great.
Yeah, I mean, again, everything's on the table coming off a loss to Washington. So, like, if you think something could happen to their special teams and there's a, move into the top 6 for Pinto, for example, like I could see it. I don't think there's really a bad way to go about this. But of course, wait for warm-ups tomorrow to see that for sure. Okay, so it looks like Tom's watching live. We have Zetterlund, Stützle, Brady, Batherson, Cousins. I'm guessing Giroux there. Does that do anything for you? Thinking about Kachuk, Stützle, Zetterlund? Because I think that would do something for me.
I mean, it's better than. Okay. I think that makes.
Right.
I mean, Zetterlund still finds a way to play 13 minutes. So I don't know.
That is true. Your lack of enthusiasm is noted. That's fine.
I'm not. I mean, I'm just being honest with I like to be honest with the good people and tell them that I'm not playing Ottawa. If that offends you, then
it doesn't offend me. I'm just making it clear that
you love the other capital of Canada, Ottawa. That's what I heard. you and Sean McIndoe can hang out all the time.
I see. Okay. I couldn't tell what you said. Let's move on to Chicago at Minnesota. Chicago did something weird. Chicago signed Sasha Boisvert. Guessing Boisvert. College guy, comes out of BU. Really down season, but he could play in this one. I'm guessing if he plays, it's on the fourth line. He could get a power play role, but I looked at him. He seems like a decent prospect, but this year was so bad that a lot of the luster came off of him. He was 36% better than the average NCAA forward shots wise, and he was double the point rate. So again, that's pretty good. Looking at last year, this year he scored like 1 goal, I think, in college. So that's a problem. But I don't have the full data set from this year to really know for sure. But just a guy to look out for. I don't know. We'll see if they do anything fun like playing Bedard with someone who's not named Andrei Burakovsky anytime soon. But for now, doesn't matter. Bedard is just goated. So I don't think there's – I mean, we just saw this matchup, so I don't think there's anything new here. Levshinov's still a good play, but not necessary.
Yeah, Levshinov's a good play, not necessary, and Bedard is – I mean, I really do think he's like a value on this slate in general. So you didn't end up playing him, but he was in your original build, right?
Yeah, my original was the game stack of – so I had the 3-man Toronto stack locked, and then I had game stack Bedard, Levshinov, Hartman, Kaprizov, Zuccarello. That was like how the lineup fit together. So I was on it because, I think Minnesota without Eriksson Ek is attackable. I think them hitting the road makes it tougher. You get, if they want to shut him down with whoever, they can actually, do so. Now they don't really have a true shutdown front pair, but I do think defensively, Minnesota is still good. So I'm not overly enthused by it. Like if you're telling me 7,300 Bedard versus 7,400 Stützle, I'm taking Stützle personally. And I think Horvat's better than both of them at 7K. So that's just sort of the relative thoughts I have pricing wise.
Well, braver man than I. Moving to the Minnesota Wild. Assuming we will see the same lineup as last game. I mean, the game went about, I'd say, more or less as I expected. It's just that the points got spread out between too many guys for Minnesota to have won the slate, but they put up 4 expected goals. They scored 4, including the overtime winner. It's just that Kaprizov and Hartman and Boldy, who really did play a good bit at 5-on-5 as well, aren't quite perfectly correlated. Yurov saw 15 minutes. That's, I think, enough for consideration with Boldy and Kaprizov, as long as that we see if that sticks. Top power play was Boldy, Zuccarello, Hartman, Quinn Hughes, and Kaprizov, and of course Tarasenko scored on the second power play to do what he does. I wonder if you have any thoughts on the second line in being in consideration, or if you would go back to the top guy. Well, I mean, one other note here is that if you pull up the last 5 games and you look through like who's shooting the most, you would see in the top 10, you would find Kaprizov, you'd find Hartman, you'd find Quinn Hughes. You wouldn't have to travel down too far, I believe, to find Matt Boldy. You really don't have to go that far down to find Matt Zuccarello either. Like, this team is just shooting a lot, and that's fun.
Yeah, it's really appealing. I think where I have a little trouble with it is Quinn Hughes has been kind of a non-factor for fantasy lately, which he's going to have these games because he's not a bomber from the point. He's going to shimmy and try to work his way to make plays, which doesn't collect you fantasy points as readily. So 6,500 for that makes it tough to glue any sort of stack here together. Like Kaprizov Boldy makes sense. I think you could do, what you did, Hartman, Kaprizov, or whatever, like just stack across. That's all fine. I don't really want to play Zuccarello, Hartman, Tarasenko. I would rather play Hartman as a one-off in that case. I mean, that's how I approached Tuesday. When I blew up the lineup, I still kept Hartman as a one-off because without Eriksson Ek, he's going to play 20 minutes, which obviously we don't see very often. So I think Hartman here's the best value, and would rather play him with a power play stack than, with his 5-on-5 line mates.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go all the way or you don't go in at all. Like I said, they're shooting a ton. Chicago's going to keep it interesting. I think my big issue is, can keep it interesting. I think that's my thought is like, if they keep it interesting and we're seeing a lot of shot volume, I want Bedard. And if I want Bedard, I can't play Kaprizov and Boldy. And it's just kind of like all of a sudden you're kind of building a shit team. So, yeah, I mean, I think I would go back to the Hartman well, regardless of Urov, but I would not call anyone an idiot for playing Urov instead of Hartman. I just feel like you're leaving a lot of projectable, minutes and volume and power play one on the table that is just clearly a really good value. So, yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on Quinn Hughes coming down in price, as it feels like the underlying numbers look really good? He just never hits the fucking net.
Yeah, that's not for me right now. I don't think he has a ton of shot volume under the surface. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, he's only getting 20% of his shots on net. Like, I think there's just a little bit of a lull right now in his production that's going through to the forwards because of how good a playmaker Hughes is.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. Next up, Seattle.
I mean, before, I mean, who had the shot bonus from the point? Obviously, Brock fucking Faber.
Brock Faber, baby, 3 assists.
So, let's not forget the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now is that there's really no guarantee that Faber plays with Boldy or Kaprizov. Like, he could sort of be in a situation where he's out with the Zuccarello, Hartman, Tarasenko line. I don't think they'll do that, but it's at least a little more possible than when Eriksson Ek's in the lineup. In which case, I'm just kind of like, well, I don't really feel like there's like a clear guarantee that Faber's going to be out with someone who I really like to do stuff. And, because Faber's been good with Hughes next to him. Like, there's really no getting around that. So, like, it's fine, but the price is a little bit much. Seattle heads into Nashville, licking their wounds. Seattle called up Yanni Newman from Coachella, I think. Yeah, Coachella. Yep. I don't know where he goes in the lineup, but it's one of those situations where he also was called up on an emergency basis, so someone has to be hurt. So I have him going where Kazili Tolvanen is either sick or injured, and so he didn't play last game. They got obviously shit roasted by Kucherov. So I think they're going to break up the Stevenson line. They're not going to play Stevenson less because, he's their shutdown center. You can't play him less. But I do think it's a possibility that we get him a new line mate, whether that's Newman or Catton or Kakko. Like, I don't think it'll be Freddie Gaudreau. So that's sort of something to keep an eye on. But again, this big of a slate.
We have to quickly give a round of applause because with no Tolvanen, it was Berkeley Catton on that second power play. So they finally gave him a worthy 14 minutes with power play 2 run, and the non-believers were not punished. I mean, he was not on the ice for any goals for or against, so that's good enough for me in a game where they got lost 6-2. But yeah, only 14 minutes for Catton, but he was in the second power play. I'd be kind of surprised if Newman doesn't find a power play role. You could maybe argue Jared McCann is a better finisher, but I would argue against it. It's just Newman doesn't maybe have the total package that McCann has, which isn't even all that much.
I don't think Newman's ever got a chance to show it. So, I mean, when we have that's also electric.
He's been great. I mean, you're talking to the two maybe biggest advocates for Yanni Newman in the world.
Yeah,
I think his parents would be like,
yeah. Hey, chill out a bit. Yeah.
He's just all right. Like it's okay. But yeah, big fan of Yanni Newman. I would see where he's slotting in. He's going to see 11 minutes, but we've played him with less, projectable time on ice. So he's an option. But this team, I mean, again, like I think in general here, like Nashville's really been bleeding opportunity. Is their goalie going to bail them out again and win Moods more money if he plays them? Well, I just would ask Matt if he's playing, UC Saros or Anonym before you do this. But, I'm fine with playing Seattle. I don't know what it would be. I feel like the answer that their coach is telling me I'm not doing with McMahon, Beniers, and Eberle, but I don't really know what else you click here. So I probably don't.
I don't know. Like Nashville must have let their players go see U2 over the Olympic break or something because they just flatlined. Like I don't know. They were kind of in it. They were playing really well, and then just nothing. Like they didn't sell at the deadline because it was kind of like they were in it. I mean, they sold. They got rid of McCarron and Smith, but they didn't really do the whole institutional thing that we thought they might do. So Seattle, bounce back spot has to be of some interest. Top line McMahon, Beniers, Eberle, 12.7K. If that line sticks, it's good. If McCann's up there, it's fine. Ideally, I think it's something like McMahon, Beniers, McCann. McCann, we know, can play as off wing, but we'll see. Not overly interested in any case, but certainly some tepid interest given the pricing. Vince Dunn, 4K. Another guy who's sort of in like the Morgan Riley range for me, where it's like I don't love him for fantasy, but when he's this cheap and he's playing 22 minutes a night and on the top power play, it's like his rates are really good for that price. So I think you got to consider it. I mean, you look at this year, Vince Dunn collects fantasy points, 67% better of a rate than the rest of, the league average defenseman. Like we're not talking about a, bad or a thin play here, and his price just going down, down, down. Seattle still needs to make the playoffs. They are firmly in the thick of it, despite how bad they've been as of late. So, no problem. Keep an eye out for Newman news. Nashville. Philip Forsberg is basically their only bright spot right now. Matthew Wood is productive. The minutes are tough to come by, but if he keeps producing, hopefully the minutes follow. Can't really trust them for anything. Like Ryan Ufko has a couple points, and he played like 4 minutes last game because got to get Brady Shea out there, I guess. So I don't really think there's much merit-based ice time being awarded, but it's something to talk about. Any thoughts on Nashville?
I mean, I think it's like a blessing and a curse for Matthew Wood because I don't really think he projected to come into this league as a center. It really just shows you the state of the Nashville Predators that like there just is nobody else to be on this team that's going to play minutes. He can't win faceoffs, so they're going to like put Howell out there instead because of faceoffs. And like this team is a mess. They have no center depth. They have no production outside of Forsberg, who is just a incredible talent, and without other play drivers on this team that can like consistently play a full allotment of minutes because of some deficiency, which again, like winning faceoffs does matter in some respect, but like the Forsberg Wood Marchessault line was the only line that was producing. I mean, they scored on the power play as well, whatever, but like that was the line that did everything. So it's the only line I'd consider, and it has warts. Is basically my point here. So I'm not going to do it. I still respect Seattle. I mean, they limited Tampa to a pretty low number of shots. It's just, Kucherov scored 452 points on them in like 5 minutes. So it is what it is. I don't think they're any good, but I'm not going to bat for Nashville here. It's line 2 or nothing, and I'm not probably going to have it. So consideration probably ends up not having it.
Yep. If Stamkos were a little cheaper, I would have some interest. But, we're talking Seattle on the other side. I like kind of similarly, and they're 1,000 to 1,500 less for their main guys. So certainly not on my radar. Next up, we have Florida at Edmonton. Florida kind of tricked me into thinking they were no longer tanking, and then I look at their lineup, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? So I'm not going to try and retcon the whole thing, but their lineup last game was Boqvist, Lindell, Samoskevich, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Kachuk, Greer, Noshek, Reinhart, Cole Reinhart, and then Foote, Cunnin, Hinostroza. I don't remember the word on the street for Sam Reinhart. Do you have any idea?
The word on the street. I know he's out, but I don't know how long.
Okay, he's not traveling with them. So.
Yeah, I don't think he's with them. So I know he's not playing. I mean, the thing.
Yeah, they're tanking. They brought back Seth Jones, and I'm like, they're not tanking. They brought back Sam Bennett. And I'm like, there's no way they're tanking. No, they're tanking. I'm just an idiot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of, it's like, I think I maybe even said it on the podcast. I don't know. I say a lot of words out loud all the time. And I remember saying, though, like, Vancouver against Florida, end of the year. And we're sitting here like, I like Vancouver more than Florida. And we were right. It's kind of crazy. Like, Vancouver crushed them 5-2. I mean, the expected goals were whatever, but like, there's only really one line here that's worth consideration. I don't think it's gonna. I mean, like, I have no idea how they're gonna match you up against McDavid. They can't. I just don't think it's necessary. Like, Bennett and Kachuk and Verhaeghe, I think down the stretch could win a slate. I don't think it's this slate, but like, yeah, that's a thought. And you're not. It's not a value. Like, you're not doing anything, and they're still expensive. So it's really hard to click on. I'm not gonna have it, but maybe you'll tell me something else.
No, I don't really have anything like super intelligent to tell you, but this is like the exact sort of situation where it's like I saw people playing Florida, yes, but that's like Vancouver. So like I feel like if people are like, oh, it's Edmonton, like can't play them, then like, yeah, you should of course be considering Matthew Tkachuk. He's way too cheap for the production he's had. But like if people are like, oh, well, 15% Matt Tkachuk, I'm like, no, thank you. I can find, 10 other guys that are projecting, a point lower or whatever, that I like more because their team is not actively trying to lose hockey games around them. So it's a very interesting spot, that like I could watch this version of the Florida Panthers and enjoy it much more than the last couple of years where it's like, hey, maybe stop trying to murder the other team's goalie and like, hey, that headshot doesn't seem legal. Like this is much more appealing to me because like, oh, well, which ridiculous fantasy, world beating output's going to happen today? You don't know where it's going to come from. But they're not even using Seth Jones on the top power play from last game. And like, yeah, he's got to get reacclimated or whatever, but like, come on, like they're just full on tanking here. So I'm going to go no, but I reserve the right to revisit if we're truly getting, some ridiculous low ownership on Bennett, Tkachuk specifically, just given out of respect for how good they've been. On the Edmonton side, Savoy, McDavid, Hyman, Dickinson, RNH, Roslovich, Podkolzin, Szymanski, Kapanen, Jones, Henrique, Frederick was how they went out last game. They started with Podkolzin on the power play one. It did turn into Matt Savoy there. So, DJ, I think you will be loading up your Matt Savoy bags here. Any thoughts on Edmonton?
Yeah, I mean, 4K Matt Savoy on the top power play, top line is enticing. I'm certainly not playing it as a one-off. I think that would be a massive mistake tomorrow. Like, if you're playing Matt Savoy, you're playing McDavid, you're playing Hyman, you're probably even taking a really good hard look at Bouchard. Like, even at 4K, like you kind of need 2 points or 4,400. Like you kind of need 2 points from Matt Savoy to get there without any sort of volume or blocks. Not something he's been known for. Although there is a bonus, a shot bonus in that mix in the recent 5 games. But the point is, it's like you kind of have to go all the way. There's no half measures. You're betting on Florida being totally dead, and you're playing the whole thing. I would be totally fine as well leaving off Matt Savoy and just playing Nugent Hopkins. He's just a better player. He's just going to see more minutes than him. He's just more involved in the top power play. He's been a better scorer on that top power play. He's 400 more. Like, I really think that that's just a better option, but I'm not faulting anybody for clicking Savoy with a McDavid, Hyman, and Bouchard stack, but I don't have any interest in the ancillary pieces. Like, I get it. The Henry, Frederick, Jones line scored against San Jose a couple times, so they're going to play like 7 minutes, so who fucking cares?
Yeah. We don't have a huge sample of Bennett, Tkachuk, Verhaeghe from this year, but the sample that we do have is pretty poor. 2.8 expected goals against per 60, 2.2 expected goals for in 90 minutes. And last game against Celebrini, McDavid pretty much ate the entirety of that matchup. I was curious to know whether it would be Dickinson or McDavid sort of shadowing Celebrini, and it was McDavid through and through. So I expect that to sort of be the line versus line matchup. If you look longer term, though, obviously Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Bennett is significantly better than this season. So it's kind of a Rorschach test. You're not really learning anything from me saying this, but your thoughts on Florida 2 should probably dictate how you deal with a chalky Edmonton top line. I think with that in mind, I'm not interested in Florida 2 because of it. Like, I don't think they're awesome defensively, but I would rather be playing against the depth of Edmonton if I got to choose. But I again don't think losing Leon Draisaitl makes McDavid's ceiling more accessible, and he's 10,000. So like that line, I think they all scored last game, or they all put up like 19 points or something like that, and it just didn't matter. Like I won easily over Edmonton because they didn't put up 30, they didn't put up 35, 40, 50. So they can score 5 goals in a game. They can have multiple goals between them and still not really matter. So I'm comfortable fading them. I think that the power play takes a huge hit going from Draisaitl down to anyone else in the NHL. But I am also ready to die by the sword. When Edmonton does hit. So I'm out, but just know that this is obviously a good spot for an Edmonton team that still needs to win hockey games against a Florida team that really needs to lose them to keep their first rounder this year.
Buffalo.
I have Benson and Tuck both in yellow. I don't think Benson took a shift after we got hit last game, but he stayed on the bench and looked okay, so I'm guessing he plays. Alex Tuck missed due to illness. Peyton Krebs slid up the lineup in his absence. I think I think one of them misses. I don't know which one. I have no idea how to guess, blah, blah, blah. But that just has to be taken into account in order to build properly for this year's slate. If Alex Tuck misses and Benson plays, I really like the Sabres top line. It is 14.5K. The production hasn't really been there, but expected fantasy point wise, you're looking at 26 per game over the last 10, only 19 actual. But Tage is obviously one of the better plays against San Jose, and getting 2 power play 2 guys in Benson and Ostland, which if Tuck doesn't play would be Benson's power play 2 role. I just think that's a really good offering. So the rest of the Sabres, as we talked about Tuesday, are priced up. So that's kind of where my thoughts are here.
Yeah, there's ambiguity here. I mean, it's tough because there's if you're playing Tage, for example, and you're like, well, who do I play with him? I mean, I like the idea of playing Noah Ostland probably no matter what. He's getting enough minutes. I think there's just enough under the hood there that makes me feel comfortable. Not that he's been great, but if there is no Benson, what if they just flip this whole thing on its head? Hard to know what they're going to do. It does make me feel nervous. So it's well, if I only leave 2,900 for a guy that doesn't even really shoot, who am I going to put in instead, right? You don't have a lot of wiggle room to get up to anybody else. So it's I don't know. It's
Liam Ogren.
Oh yeah, I guess you're playing only Liam Ogren.
I had some inspiration.
The second line, third. I mean, you could play any of the 3, and I'm sure they'll all see some level of ownership. I really want to be betting through Tage Thompson at 8,300 if I'm going to go this route. I think at the end of the day, it's probably not going to fit into my build, and then maybe I capitulate and go back to the Norris Stone line, but I'm really torn here. Really torn.
I figured it
Alex
out.
Bump.
Alex Bump's your guy if you need it. 2,700.
I don't know. I really think at the end of the day, I'm not going to have the Sabres in my lineup. I really don't even feel super strong about any of these 3 lines being the clear option. And I mean, again, it's a bit of the ambiguity with the lineup, but is there one you want to hang your hat on here? And is there one of these defensemen you want to play over any other?
Certainly the top line for me. As discussed, Tage as a one-off is fine, but again, if I'm playing Tage, I might as well just take one of his 5-on-5 line mates. So that's sort of where my head's at. And defensively, yes, you're right. That is my oft go-to of just, yeah, these guys are really good, really sort of underutilized. I want to look at last game because last game they were in the exact sort of game script that you would expect minutes to sort of spread out if Logan Stanley is
played 16.
there. 16 minutes for Stanley, 22
Yeah.
across the board, 23 for
Yeah.
Dowling.
I mean, Stanley's going to kill penalties. I mean, that's what they got him for.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Honestly, let's just get to San Jose because honestly, I keep watching Sam Dickinson play hockey and go like, this dude is just a guy. Like he is such a dude.
Yeah,
that's
I
the
could see
exact
being a
opposite of
guy.
what I meant. And like he's still 2,500. I think the role's growing for him. So I'd rather save the 1,000 if I'm like playing a bunch of guys from this game. So let's talk about San Jose. We don't know what the ramifications of Will Smith's latest benching will be, but it's obviously worrying that this is becoming a trend where he's just getting benched in games and the coach is like, hey, you got to earn your ice time. And, whatever. If he's not playing well, then you can see it here. He's not been the sort of player he was earlier in the year by the fantasy offensive numbers. He's going to generate a lot of his value to an NHL team through his offensive output. So it makes sense that he's getting benched for poor play. Alex Weinberg played last game as well. So like we saw Michael Misa move up to Celebrini's line for long stretches of that game. I think something very fun could happen. Misa's 3,500 if that occurs again, but also Eklund at 3,800 could slide up. Colin Graff has also been there. So even if they do keep Smith there, they could just get a new third line mate by default. So I don't know the answer right now, but that is the spot where I'm very highly interested in what comes of it. Pavel Regenda, another option, dead minimum.
Yeah.
Like all these dudes, I think would be awesome in sort of game stacks or, one-off plays or whatever, if they do move up to the Celebrini line. Because even 16 minutes would be quite good, I think, in this game environment, which I have as one of the best of the night. And then again, defensively, Sam Dickinson is just playing minutes and playing well. So I want to keep on that train if I have to go to a defenseman here.
I mean, there's kind of two superstars in Tage and Celebrini at different levels, of course, but like a lot of cheap value around them. If you hit the right value, you're really looking pretty. I mean, I do think Colin Graff is definitely a fine play to go along with Celebrini. I would be totally fine Dickinson, Celebrini, Graff, Tage as like a lineup, just because this game could be the donkey fest of the night. Every game that San Jose has that potential, and the Sabres are great, and their goaltending has been really solid, but that well can break at any point. There's been a long history of if Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's back in net. I know Lyon might be dealing with some minor injury that they kept him out for. Maybe that was just a way to get Colton Ellis back in the mix for on the bench for a game. But like UPL has had a pretty yo-yo career this year. He's really sorted it out down the stretch, but he could throw up a 4-goal against on 18 shot on goals type of game, and Celebrini would certainly take advantage of it. So I don't hate the game stack here. It's easy to afford the guys that can push this game over the edge.
Wow, you have some nerve saying that a goalie could have a good game or a bad game.
I take it back. Let's talk about the true chalk of the night.
Tampa heads into Vancouver. Yes, to the people, go, oh my God, I missed it. And then they go right to Tampa here. Considering the levels of ownership on Florida lastly, I say probably. But I do wonder if that means Kucherov, Cirelli, Hagel is going to be, the chalk. That line would be 21.5K. You're looking at something where if you go Kucherov, Point Gensel, it is 22K. And like, I just sort of wonder what the dynamics are like from the field here, because my thought process doesn't really change. Like, yes, I won with Kucherov, Cirelli, Hagel, but Kucherov in different games will play throughout the lineup. The power play could be the catalyst in this one. So if there's any sort of certainty from the field there that I try and sniff out, I might try to go the other route because I think it's all on the table here. One thing I will not be doing is playing Oliver Bjorkstrand. Everyone else, though, is pretty much good to go.
Yeah, Yorkshire doesn't really do anything. I did put Darren Radish on the cover. It is kind of funny. I mean, part of the reason why is just he didn't have a point in that game against Seattle, and he hit the shots bonus. I don't know why that made me laugh when I saw that. It was just like they scored 6 goals, and he was out there for a bunch of them and didn't get a point. But lo and behold, nearly a point per game player. Rates are to the moon and back. Like, I do think he could get left off. I wouldn't make that mistake. Like, I think I've been going over every single one of these top stacks and saying you could put a top defenseman with him. That would make sense. This is another example of maybe doing that again.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the Darren Radish of it all?
Yeah, no, that's the exact sort of thing I mean. Like, if people are, for whatever reason, like, oh, I can't play Radish because I'm playing Zreli, Hagel, like with Kucherov, then like, yeah, certainly I have interest. The thing is, I don't really have a preference. Like, it's like all of it is fine to me. So if people are going, oh my god, I'm not doing that, like they were Tuesday, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But if they're like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, I'm like, okay, I don't know how it hits, so like, good luck getting the right combination. Like, so I don't know. I'm trying to visualize what a lineup would look like for me on Thursday, and I'm not sure I see Tampa in it again. But I also didn't see it that way at 7:00 on Tuesday either. So, TBD, I guess.
We got 5 more teams to cover, including a Vancouver team that just frankly has played better than their expected or than their price tags would indicate. It is a very tough matchup against a Tampa team out on the West Coast, but could you conceive of a lineup that brings it back if you're playing Tampa? Or if you're not playing Tampa, still just going to either Ogren, Rossi, Besser, or, I mean, the emergence of 2-goal Elias Pettersson. He said, I haven't scored since, I don't know, the Vietnam conflict, but here I will score twice against Florida.
Yeah, and those were nukes too. The one-timer on the power play.
They were great.
Just like, it's like, yeah, huh. I don't know. It's crazy. So I don't think so. Like, I mean, we're not talking like Tampa's one of the best teams in the league. I mean, they've been poor of late, so you could lean into that. But it's partially goaltending driven, at least, if not almost exclusively goaltending driven. If you look at the rainbow sheet, it'll say it's partially goalie. I kind of might think it's more than partial. I mean, we just hit it for Vancouver. The pricing didn't really move though, so like doesn't really matter that it just hit. But I'm at least wary of that. There's been a lot of cheap guys that we've talked about. We're going to talk about a few more, or at least a couple more that I have a relatively high interest in these final 2 games. So I don't think I'm like going to try and bait you into saying top stack Vancouver or anything. But if you wind up on it, especially on the late slate, I might be alongside you if the lineup suits it.
Fair enough. 4 more teams. 2 games.
4
many
more teams.
Many big spots. We start with.
I didn't see anything for Utah. And it's been like a year since they played, but they beat Dallas easily. So I think they keep the lineup the same, but keep an eye out there.
You know who's been really good? It's Clayton Keller. It's 5,200.
Yeah.
It's Clayton Keller.
Yeah.
He is shooting. He is playing 20 minutes. This isn't a great or terrible matchup. I don't know why he's 5,200.
Yep.
Like, how is he cheaper than Nick Schmaltz?
We did this.
We talked about
Saturday.
it. Yeah, we did this.
Yeah.
We did do this Saturday. We're doing it again.
This is like, I'm not a Clayton Keller guy. Like, I'm just through and through not a Clayton Keller guy.
Because he's always.
But at this price.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not just Seth Jarvis, Utah, normally? Like.
I mean, I think Keller's. I mean, I think Jarvis is a better player, but I think I even like Keller better for fantasy a little more. So I don't know.
But why is he 2,500 less? Like, I don't like that. I don't understand.
Yeah, you could play that game with many a player on the slate, and I would be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I don't see it. So
I paid you to make sense of this.
Well, it's in Vegas on the road, so like that's gonna, I think, deflate ownership. Utah's not been a very exciting team lately
Well,
by
that to their
Corsi pace
fans.
and whatnot. They're among the worst. Um,
All 12 of their fans are screaming at you right now.
well, I mean, yeah, they live in Utah. I mean, they have a lot of
I'm going to ask you this.
do they
How
really know what
far-
exciting is?
How far is Salt Lake City to Vegas? Like in my head, that doesn't sound like it's very far, but I just
I
never
guess
been
like
out
a
that way. So it's
10-hour
probably
drive.
I bet it's like 10 hours. I'm going to look it up while you,
Yeah.
I must know.
Okay.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up, but I guess we both don't need to be looking up a drive that is.
I'll let you look
completely
up the drive
meaningless.
because you're faster than me at looking up drives. I know this from years of experience.
Of course, we often do this.
Utah's fine. We often do this. Utah is a fine play because of the pricing. I think the problem is I don't want to spend 57 for Nick Schmaltz, but I want to spend 52 for Clayton Keller. Like I probably end up with a one-off Clayton Keller, and that feels bad, but I think it's fine. Sergachev is fine. I don't know. There's pieces here that I like. I don't think I love anything, so I think I'm just playing Clayton Keller and living to tell the
Okay.
tale.
Can confirm it is a 5.5-hour drive, so it's basically
Wow.
Philly to Rochester.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
The more you know, 420 miles. Blaze it, baby. Where I was going to look is, I mean, look at this Vegas lineup. Howden, Sissons, Bowman, Colasar, Dowd, Smith, assuming, nothing changes for Vegas. I think Hayton Carcone is really interesting. Hayton is 3,900 on the top power play. He's fine. Carcone is the dead minimum. And, I mean, he's a guy who generates, like, fantasy. He generates shot attempts when he's on the ice, which leads to fantasy points. And Jack McBain is a fun dude. Like, I think Keller, Schmaltz, Krause, Paterka, Cooley, Gunther sort of, get the Vegas top six. And I think that makes me sort of, like, I respect that, but Carcone, Hayton, I think they get the bottom six, which I don't respect at all. So this is sort of one of the cheaper areas that I'm circling around, especially if I want to spend up for multiple studs. I think that's an interesting way to lay it out. Carcone has been getting secondary power play time as well. So I just think that there's a decent reason there to, think that these third liners could actually contribute to a lineup. But did I make you gag a little bit?
No, I actually didn't hate that idea, and that made me
Okay.
sad inside that I actually kind of
Okay.
like the idea of the Carcone Hayton situation.
Speaking of radically underpriced wingers, I mean, Vegas too, 15.8K, Dorofeyev 5,600. Even Jack Eichel priced down to 8,100. Vegas has not been good of late. They got shut out by Buffalo, yada yada. But can you see it in yourself to be interested in Vegas here at home? Should mention.
Not really. Pricing has come up. It's like I love Dorofeyev and I love Eichel, and I tentatively am okay with Mitchell Marner. But the rest of this feels pretty thin. I'm still waiting for the moment to jump on one of his defensemen. I don't think it's even a top power play spot that has to happen. I just want to see somebody with a pulse of producing fantasy numbers at a good clip because they're all pretty cheap now, and it just doesn't really feel like it's coming through. So I think I'm sitting this one out. I respect Utah. I just like, I like Tage more. I do like Tampa a lot. I'm probably going to end up with Columbus. I don't know how I'm finding the money to play Eichel, Dorofeyev, or Eichel at all. And Dorofeyev can do it on his own, but I'm not planning on playing it in daily fantasy at least.
Right.
And
I
think even from betting, like I think the Utah stuff is going to be better priced. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Dorofeyev shot stuff is, I mean, I don't know, we're just guessing lines at this point. What's the point? But I think that could be, that's still the best bet. But Door 5 one-off, I think, is what I would do. I don't trust Tomas Hertl. I never really have. For a couple weeks there in the Olympics, I did, and was resoundingly disappointed
Spanked.
in what I got out of it. So I just think that in this Vegas team, he's going to be the secondary option. He could score twice, but he's just very, very hit or miss the way they function. Let's get to the final game, though. Philly on a back-to-back heading into Los Angeles. Grunstrom, Zegras, Tippett, Bump, Dvorak, Konechny, Barkey, Cates, Michkov is the Philly forward configuration. Defensively, who really cares? Jimmy Drysdale has been a little better of late, but everyone there's pretty garbage. Zegras, big revenge spot on Wednesday. So is this a letdown spot here in LA? DJ, any thoughts on this one?
I like the LA side a lot more. Philly doesn't really ever want to push the pace, and I feel like LA will be just fine in kind of limiting them from doing any real damage. There's nothing here that feels like I can't miss out on it. Like, I just, again, like I like the idea of Zegras Tippett more than I feel like I enjoyed the fantasy output. And I just don't really think I need to go to the map for it here. So Tippett's been good as of late. So like I would understand somebody that considered it, but it's just a little too expensive for me to actually, take hold and run with it. So I'm going to sit this one out on the Philly side, and I'm guessing, 97% of the field will join me.
Yeah, definitely correct there. I haven't run the to date numbers in a couple, I think in a week and a half. So Alex Bump probably has stats up here now. But I'm going to tell you, when they do get up here, they're going to look fantastic from a shot rate standpoint. So 2,700 for Bump. He gets secondary power play time with Michkov. And he's playing with Dvorak Konechny, where it's like, even if Bump is not, quote unquote, a first liner like those guys are minutes wise, he should get 15, 16 minutes. So that's another really cheap price tag that I think is interesting.
3
but
points in
what
5
really,
games and he's shooting. Yep.
yeah, what really makes LA sort of an interesting team is that they go off at 10:30, and we don't know if Adrian Kempe is going to play. He's right now a game time decision. Hopefully we have a better indication. But if Kempe misses, it's basically just they slot in Matthew Joseph and just move on. And what that does is it makes Byfield and Laferriere like the second line correlated, almost top line, because Kopitar, Panarin are fine, but like they're old, and Kempe's obviously the number one guy, at least in my opinion here, as far as like 5-on-5 ice time is concerned. So like it sort of makes Byfield Laferriere like this top line, top power play connected to Panarin and Clark and everything else that I like, kind of pain free. So it's interesting at 8,600, that 2-stack, if Kempe misses, like almost juts up to the top of my board. Laferriere's been awesome. You could play him regardless of situation. But I think Byfield is one of those like contingent plays where I don't feel great about him. He's very hit or miss, but I think at low ownership against a back-to-back Philly team, if Kempe misses, Byfield will be asked to lug a lot more of the, of the mail, so to speak. And so for that reason, I want to kind of keep my options open if it's a, obscure situation heading into the main slate lock. But just who knows what we do know at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be the guy that stands up for Quentin Byfield for the 957th time this season. But
not you this time, it's me.
But yeah, it's actually you this time.
This time it's going to work.
This time it's going to work. It's different this time. He's going to actually score goals. He doesn't have 13 goals in 64 games this year, making me look like a true fucking idiot.
Did you bet 30 for him, I think?
I never bet it, actually, because I'm a coward. I kept trying to find a better line because there's only one line offered for it, and it wasn't that good. And I was like, I bet someone else will offer it at some point. It never happened. Yeah, I will probably be going to the LA 2 well. I'll call it LA 1 myself, and seeing if that can't catch some fire. I wouldn't even, again, gross, but I wouldn't even hate the idea of throwing Trevor Moore in. Like, he is just shooting a ton and playing a ton of minutes, and like he's actually scoring goals on like Quentin Byfield. So
sure.
I like that second line for LA a lot. And sure, play Brant Clark. Go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Matt, are you going to stop anybody?
I am not stopping anyone from the Brent Clark train. I am just going to keep getting run over by it day in, day out. I mean,
His triple
just
bonus is going to hit so hard.
I can't make the argument any. Well, I guess he got a double bonus, but on Saturday I traveled to New York City for the Big East championship game, and I did my DK bets, and I'm like, all right, it's best on Fanatics for 2 assists, 2 points, and 3 points, I think it was. So I'm like, I'll go bet those over at Fanatics. And then I got busy doing stuff, and I just never did it. So after the game, I go and I check. I'm like, oh my God, Brant Clark, nuked. Like, I'm so wealthy. And then I open it up, and I didn't have any Fanatics bets. And I'm like, oh my God, I just didn't do it. So, I think he had 5 shots and 3 assists. So at least on DK, I hit that stuff. Maybe he didn't have the shots. I don't know, whatever. At any point, I cost myself a bunch of money on that. And the other 4 games since I've been betting everything Brant Clark, I've just been getting run over. So, but we'll keep doing it. I mean, I don't think anything's appreciably changed. I am still a long-term believer in that. And the odds are going down, if anything. So it's, very appealing to me. But for DFS, it's fine. 5,100, I could take it or leave it. I'll probably wind up with Brant Clark because, like I'm saying, I really like Leferrier, and the Byfield situation is incredibly interesting. But we'll see. I'm not like saying Brant Clark is a one-off is going to be my plan or anything. Team looks fine, by the way, if I needed to scroll down on the rainbow sheet for the LA side by the expecteds and Corsi. So, with all that said, let's do top stacks, guarantee goals, get out of here. We've got some stuff in the chat if you want to think about your top.
You're getting tennis questions.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're not for me. I've never heard of these tennis players.
Doing anything in Florida should be
someone
illegal.
I work with is there. Yeah, someone I work with is there, so I'll hear about it on Monday.
That's funny, but why has it been raining in Miami for 3 days straight? Well, because doing anything in Florida should be illegal. Which, by the way, I'm flying to Miami or Naples technically tomorrow, so
right to Naples,
should be illegal.
nice.
Throw me in jail. Sloan Stevens. Yeah, next week, maybe. I saw a Giacomo. Well, thank you, Diego. Cooch money. Love that. Giacomo, sure, whatever. She plays at 2:40 tomorrow. So, okay. Maybe give me the under there, but only slightly. Willie K. I mean, if you don't know my answer is Paula Bedosa, you don't know ball. And whatever, sure.
I don't know any of these women, and I'm scared. Now, top stacks, guaranteed goals. I went first last time on the top stack, so why don't you give me your first top stack if you are ready and prepared?
I am going to hit you with the New York Islanders. Just give me Schaefer, Horvat, Barzal.
I'm going to go right back to where I started. Columbus won. I mean, Borensky, Marchenko, Fantilli, and Marchman if you want it.
Okay, I guess I can go back to this view. I want the Sabres top line. So give me Tage, Benson, Östlund. I just think that those 2 guys are really cheap, and I'm long-term believers in them at these prices with power play 2 roles. So if Tuck plays, it's a bit thinner. I might want to try and play Tage as a one-off and do San Jose on the other side, for example. But if Tuck misses again, if Benson misses, whatever, that top line of Tage would be what I want to go to, whether it's Doan, Östlund, or, some combination there of good players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go LA too. I mean, if Kempe's in, I guess I can change my mind if I must, but my plan is to play Byfield, Leferrier, and Clark. So that's the plan, and we'll see if it can be stuck to or not.
I sold you on Vancouver Tuesday, and it worked. So hopefully, the sell job on Byfield gets you across the finish line on Thursday.
You were, oh my God, you're literally selling liquor to a drunk. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we doing here? Like,
I mean,
I got
yeah.
more vodka to the alcoholic. Like, yeah, like I will drink it. Thank you. Very cool. Matt, the salesman of the year, selling me on Quentin Byfield, the biggest stand in Quentin Byfield's history.
Your Honor, I have no counter argument. Let's get to guaranteed goals.
There's nothing you can possibly say. Okay, yeah. Time to guarantee goals.
Ooh.
You're gonna try to sell me on fucking. I don't know. Never mind. I'm gonna stop. I already made a good joke. I'm gonna stop. Your turn.
Please.
Guaranteed goals. You get to go first. That's how brave you are.
I get to go first. All right. I will take. I'm gonna take Lafreniere. I posted a bet in the Discord today. It didn't hit. Wilson scored, but no Chikrin assist, no Lafreniere goal. But Lafreniere was still good in this one. That top line did produce their offense, and Lafreniere's just been on a bender. So 4,900 feels underpriced. Give me him for a guaranteed goal, firmly in the mid range.
Firmly grasp it. Wrong guy that has a similar name because it's going to be Alex Laferriere who scores. Obviously, I'm not going to take a guy out of my stack, but I will go. I'm going to go. I want to kind of go high-low because you're going a little more middle grounds. So I'll just start with the high, and I'll go low in a minute. Give me. Actually, I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to go with Clayton Keller.
Okay. That works for me because my guy barely doesn't fit for Clayton Keller. I want Braden Point. He's 6K. We're talking about Kucherov and all that situation and how things play out. Last game it played out that Hagel-Strelly with Kucherov just stuck because it was so productive. I don't think that's a guarantee for this one. The power play could be where Kucherov derives his value. Of course, Braden Point is incredibly valuable on the power play. He's just 6,000. I think just keep an eye on ownership wins because that's really where I'm going to make this decision. And I could be right, could be wrong. It's happened before, but I do think that if Point is going to be lower owned than like Brandon Hagel, like Point's just a windmill jam play alongside Kucherov.
There's no point in warm-ups.
What?
You know what I'm talking about? Did you catch that joke?
There's no point in warm-ups because
that was a whole thing. It's a thing. If you don't know it, then like you don't know it. Yeah, but if you know it, you know it. You know what I mean?
I don't know anything, so
you know nothing. That's true.
Oh, Tom's right. EP40 scored last game. Vancouver's fixed. Kucherov has no chance.
Vancouver is fixed. Now that I didn't consider. It's gonna be. All right, I'm going to stop circling the wagons here and pick somebody. I don't know if I have enough money for, I just don't know if I care. Give me Slafkovsky. Who cares? Money be damned.
Okay.
What?
I'm going to take a mid-tier, and then, actually, it doesn't matter.
I know. I bought 500. I bought it. It's okay. I asked the banker. He said it was fine. You could take it.
That's I guess you can use as many units as fucking Stochastic says you're up on the year.
I don't make the rules. You can't just blame me for what they do. Like I don't do it. Like I can't go into their thing and like I don't know. Like it's just I get that people are bothered by it because it's like that isn't real. It's like what do you want me to do? You want me to go in there and change their whatever they're doing? I don't do it. No one asked me to do it. If they asked me to do it, I would do it, but they haven't.
All right, next Tuesday, it's just going to be Kucherov and McDavid, DJ's guaranteed goals.
All
right.
Yeah.
I suspect it is time for us to go about the rest of our Wednesdays and for the loyal listeners to go about their Thursdays. Thank you to the people in the chat hanging out with us. We're here on both of our YouTube channels, actually. But DJ's is most important for reasons we've discussed before, for, not partnership, but whatever it's called, reasons. So at NHL DJ, on YouTube at DJ_Mitchell94 if you like parlays that hit at a ridiculously hot clip. Just insane work this season. I am at Fake Moods. Again, no newsletter for the Friday slate. I will be traveling. So we'll be back next week, presumably. And we're getting ready for the playoffs here. So possible Zamboni coverage. I think I mentioned this on stream before, but little TBD on Zamboni Sims. Hard to invest time in underdog when, they seem to be disassociating from the draft space. So still TBD there. Was a bit more gung-ho about it, a few weeks ago. Anything from you here, DJ, before we head out?
No, you said it all. Follow me on things, do things. I'm looking into it right now. I'm trying to look what my unit size is set at, because I thought I set it at $50 and just did that. But like, what does it even matter technically? Because like, it's not like, I don't know.
No, yeah,
like,
it should be consistent. I have no.
It should be consistent. So I don't know why that would even.
The only thing that could happen is if you're saying, "Oh, put 100 units on this because your unit is, whatever, a 50-cent unit." It's like, oh well, then yeah, so, like, of course you're going to be scaled
the 6-leg parlay said I won 33.5 units, and it was plus, 33.46. So like,
yeah,
and that's what it added in. Like, it didn't add in like some multiplier, and like I'm round robining them, which I'm not even like telling it. So like, in theory, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. Like, someone asked me, like, is this real? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't have their. Stop mocking me.
Well,
I'm just trying my
really
best. I'm trying to make everyone money.
We need Odds Tracker to give us a CSV of DJ's bets. That's really all the people are asking for, I think. Just
really
every bet line by line.
Just you and Doug are asking for it.
Yeah, it's just us. We want to go through that shit with a really close eye to detail.
With a huge thing of popcorn and just the whole time texting me like "fuck you," just for 2 hours straight.
Did you know you lost 4 points of value on this bet? You fucking loser.
Hey, you're not gonna believe it. My second goal scorer has hit. It's Cutter time, folks.
All right. Well, Jesus Christ. I hope Cutter gets 1 million shots tonight and scores. So that'll do it from us. Thank you all for listening. From Doug, from DJ, from myself, have a good Thursday, everybody, and we will see ya.
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.